On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Probably three of the most hated people on the planet. Arguably. Yeah, which one do you hate more? Probably. I would say most of us would say Netanyahu, though I'm not sure. Still on the fence. I do not think Israel government is necessarily good, per se. Netanyahu, for whatever reason, Trump's like being close with, probably because he has to. If you're going to choose which side you need to be on in this particular skirmish, Iran's definitely not the correct choice. So, again, I'm not saying who's good, who's bad. I'm just saying we're taking it day by day, right? There's a lot of people that are very, very upset, that are very black and white about how they see the world, and they feel that if Trump gets involved at all in the Iran-Iraq war, or the Iran, boy, that's going back, but the Iran war, then we somehow have failed the plan and everything else. There's a lot of people that feel this way. It's weird at this point in time. I am so over the fact that there is just a lot of people that don't get it. And I think, maybe I'm the one that doesn't get it, right? I should just say that and make it easy for myself. But it is funny how things are playing out right now. I'm actually enjoying the ride. I think it's funny as hell. I am seeing people kind of experience this in a lot of different ways. I'm seeing a lot of people have a lot of different, very strong opinions. It's just a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So we are going to continue moving through this. I'm going to try to be there with you if you guys will let me. But I'm definitely enjoying it. Had a really awesome interview today with Mike Lindell. It's a little longer than normal, but it's really good. He got out of his trial, and we got some really good information around that and the big fight that's happening. So Mike was very, very kind to kind of really open up and share a lot of what he's been through. And the dude's kind of essentially broke right now, by the way, which is a lot. He was apparently worth about $50 million there at one point, and he's supposedly in the hole, close to $10 million right now. Think about that for a second. You had $50 million, now you don't have $10 million, meaning you're in the hole. It's like $60 million this poor guy's been through, but he saved his company. That's a powerful thing. It's why we're also getting a special discount code. So all of this is going to be talked about coming up. I'm going to get going because I got a lot. It's probably going to be a long show. I apologize, guys, in advance. And I kind of apologized yesterday for not saying fuck. I don't apologize for that. I kind of apologize, I guess, for my anger. I was pretty pissed, and maybe rightly so, and probably somewhat justified. But anger is not usually the path I like to take. But I was pissed. The Senate has pissed me off. I did find an interesting bit of Tucker Carlson being a total dick to Senator Cruz. I'm not real fond of Tucker right now either at the moment, but it was kind of fun watching him be a dick to Ted Cruz. We're going to be playing that too. A lot of good stuff going on. Air travelers, just keep this in mind. Many of you may not know this, and this is a little bit of insight from some of the TSA people, but the one thing you never, ever, 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 ever want to put into the trays, those trays that they send through the little scanners? You never, ever, ever want to put your cell phone in there. Put your cell phone in something with a zipper or whatever, backpack, a bag, a purse, whatever the hell. Do not put your cell phone in the thing by itself. Why? Because it is hands down the most stolen thing ever in the airports. Not stolen by TSA. Typically what'll happen, you might take a while getting through screening or whatever, so your tray is just sitting there with a phone in it. And guess who grabs it? Just some random dude or dudette. So never ever do that. Whenever you fly, make sure you put your cell phone into something. Vance defends Gabbard as Trump dismisses the past comments. I just thought this was cool, and I love J.D. Vance. He's like the perfect fit for Trump, I feel like. But he said Tulsi is a veteran, a patriot, a loyal supporter of President Trump, and a critical part of the coalition we built in 2024. She is an essential member of our NatSec team, and we're grateful for her tireless work to keep America safe from foreign threats. So, again, I like the fact that he's kind of coming to the rescue a little bit, a teeny tiny bit. Donald Trump truthed this out. Said, it is my great honor to announce that I will be putting up 2 beautiful flagpoles on both sides of the White House, north and south lawns. It is a gift from me of something which was always missing from this magnificent place. The digging and placement of the poles will begin at 7:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning, which was today. We've got video. These are the most magnificent poles made. They are tall, tapered, rust-proof, rope inside the pole, and of the highest quality. Hopefully, we will proudly stand on both sides at the White House for many years to come. Now, oddly, they're not gold colored, which I thought was kind of cool. Needless to say, here is Trump raising that flag.
All right. Hey, it's all on you now. So once you get the fire off, we'll lose the flag. It's viral on the internet. Let it go. Let it go, guys.
That's pretty awesome. And as you can maybe kind of barely see, just sticking up over the White House over here is the other flagpole. So this thing is very, very tall. Hey, you know, I was talking to a friend of mine, the one that was telling me about the collagen, the cop friend, and she'd been to D.C., and a bunch of you guys probably have, said the White House is much smaller than you thought. That was kind of what I thought of the Statue of Liberty, but I've never seen the White House, but it looks so magnificent to me. That tripped me out when she said, she's like, not very big. And I was like, oh, how weird. How weird. I didn't know that, you know. So a lot of you guys are probably nodding your head like, dude, yeah, it's tiny. Whatever the case. POTUS says he was the hunted. Now he's the hunter. Interesting.
Who gave you the idea to do this?
I've had it for a long time. The first time I had it, but you know, you guys were after me. I said I had to focus. I was the hunted, and now I'm the hunter. It's a big difference.
I love it. Trump is definitely tired of the game and playing it well. There was a couple really good little snippets. I hate to share the view, and when I first saw this, I think it was Jesse Waters I saw playing it, and I'm like, oh, God, Schwarzenegger's going to piss me off. He actually didn't. I was shocked, actually. You might be, too.
All right, but you know, as an immigrant yourself, you are an immigrant. You're an immigrant in this country. Yeah. Did you have a visceral reaction to what they're doing, what ICE is doing, when you see the videos of it?
Well, I tell you, you said that the immigrant. I'm so proud and happy that I was impressed by the American people like that. I mean, imagine they came over here with the age of 21, with absolutely nothing. And then to create a career like that. I mean, in no other country in the world could you do that. Yeah. Every single thing, if it's my bodybuilding career, if it's my acting career, becoming governor, the beautiful family that I've created, all of this is because of America.
That's true.
And so this is why I'm so happy to see firsthand that this is the greatest country in the world, and this is the land of opportunity.
Absolutely, and it gets better, that's for sure. Now, again, I want to remind everybody out there, which is funny, is whenever you talk to legal immigrants that came here legally, that literally wanted to become Americans, they don't like what the illegals are doing. They actually don't mind what ICE is doing. This is the thing that the people on the left don't get. Well, we're a country of immigrants. Legal immigration, yes. So when you ask a legal immigrant how they feel, their answer is going to somehow reflect that.
But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, you know. So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest, and you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean, and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is when you become an immigrant to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back. You have a responsibility as an immigrant to give back to America and to pay back to America and to go and do something for your community for no money whatsoever. Give something back to after-school programs, Special Olympics, or whatever it is. Make this country a better place.
I loved how Sunny, or whatever that chick's name was trying to actually like touch him. You could tell she was trying to like stop. She didn't like what he was saying. Here is where I think he kind of spins things from the direction they were trying to take it. Yet once again,
the other thing I just wanted to say is that Governor Newsom did not ask for the National Guard to come to the federal government to come to California. To California, there are 9,000 local law enforcement officers in California. Did he really? Every president has to send them.
I mean, look, this is a whole other issue because remember, the National Guard is under the governor's supervision.
That's right.
Yeah.
But, like for instance, when the National Guard was sent to Iraq during the Iraqi War, I was not the one that said, "Oh yeah, go to Iraq." The Bush administration came and said, "We need those people."
They came to you.
They came to you. And we need the resources, we need the equipment, we need the weapons, we need the vehicles to ship to Iraq.
Yeah.
And then they ship
It's the
to Iraq.
coordination.
So
It's the
that's why I
coordination.
say it is very important that we work together.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who is asking whom. The bottom line is we work together in order to solve the problem.
Close to what's up. Again, I don't know if I played this yesterday or not, but it's fun to watch the whole ordeal play out. This individual was trying to block an ICE apprehension, and he was arrested for it, trying to make a big deal about it. Again, it's 2 minutes long. I think I played this yesterday. What the hell? Let's play it.
Guys, back up, guys. Back up. I understand. You're pregnant, but y'all need to back up. If you're interfering with this arrest, we have to arrest. Back up, guys. Back up, guys.
This is not legal to take someone without a judicial warrant.
Please don't put him in the elevator and then claim you have the warrant.
We don't have a warrant for him.
I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it?
So show it. Let us see it. So let us see it before you take his warrant.
Excuse me, please stay back. Take it back. Step back. Please, step back, guys. Step back.
U.S. citizens. Sir, you don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. Please stay back. You don't have. I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I have to see the judicial warrant.
You're arresting them.
Please step back,
Asking that you for a judicial warrant.
Step back, guys. You can take
You don't
pictures,
have
but
the
please stay back.
authority to arrest U.S. citizens asking for a judicial warrant. Stay back, please. Stay back, please.
Press, we go too. Sorry. No way. I'm safe. Where are you taking him? Hello?
Since you have no authority to arrest U.S. citizens,
Where are you taking the controller?
and with what authority?
Why are you arresting the city controller and where are you taking him? No!
Number one's gonna go with him, all right? Hang on, please, number one. Hold on. Brett, that's his number one right here, all right? Thank you.
The number of people that feel like they are entitled to the cops having to tell them everything they're doing is just insane to me. Second off, illegal people are not citizens, and you do not need to show a warrant. You do not need a warrant to deport an illegal. Period. You don't. So this individual, I don't know how much trouble he's in again. I think this is the dude that's running for mayor, Mr. Lander. He's one of the, not sure which one, if he's the one that the Democrats like, or I forget which one's which. I haven't been following it at all. I don't frankly give a crap. That's your guys' problem out there in New York. Hopefully you'll figure it out. Or we'll see as we get closer to the elections. Here's another example of much the same. I thought it was pretty funny.
Sir, are you an officer with the BI International?
I am an officer with ICE.
You're an officer with ICE?
With ICE. Can you see it? I don't have to show that to you.
You don't have to show
I'm telling you to leave. I've already identified myself. I'm an officer with ICE.
Can you show me a badge or an ID?
You're not allowed to be here. Police are coming. Okay?
What are we doing this improper, sir? Who are you?
You are not allowed to be here. Police are coming. And again, this is the whole big things about trying to dox people, right? This is their big thing they keep trying to do. We want to be able to get your name out there so we can get you in trouble with the regular public. It's pretty messed up. Massachusetts judge, well, she not only risks losing, but looks like she is losing. This week, lawyers for the Massachusetts Commission on Judicial Conduct recommended that Joseph be stripped of her $207,855 annual salary and permanently be suspended from the bench as a result of the investigation by the state agency into her actions. The judge can no longer command the respect and authority essential to judicial function, Judith Fabricant, special counsel for the commission, said. So we'll see where this continues to go, but this lady is going to be another example of a judge that's going to get herself in big, big trouble. Keep doing it, guys. I love it. I love it. New York Attorney General Letitia James has initiated a misconduct investigation into Oswego County Sheriff Don Hilton's office for alleged cooperation with federal immigration enforcement agencies. Literally going after a sheriff for helping ICE. It's going to be very interesting because sheriff are not state cops. Sheriff answer to the people, oddly. And the fact that they were helping ICE is what they're supposed to do, except in New York, right? So this is very interesting that Letitia James is literally going to try to bust a cop for following the law because they don't want them to follow the law. That's so cute how that works out. Letits. I would say we'd miss you, but we're not going to miss you at all. The U.S. Department of Justice, citing a Voting Rights Act is non-compliance complaint, I guess, requested all records related to Colorado's 2024 federal elections from Secretary of State Jenna Griswold on June 12, 2025. Matt Crane, executive director of the Colorado County Clerks Association, called the request unprecedented in his 25 years of experience. Yeah, we finally are putting an end to the cheating, you bastards. Anywho, me and Mike will be talking about this here in a very short second. We also talk about this great sale that they've got on the percale sheets. What we've come to find out is the Giza sale is ending. So you wanted to get those Giza sheets, you better get it, because by Sunday, that deal is running out. Just to remind you, you also get this roll and go with you. With God, all things are possible. Again, Mike's going to talk about all this stuff. But these are the Giza sheets. Keep these in mind, because these are going bye-bye. These percale sheets are dropping down $5. I think starting at the twin size. This is right now any size, any color. So if you've got something larger than twin, I actually recommend you jump on these too. These are like more of a summer sheet, I guess. You can get them for $29.98, any size. Coming soon, it's going to be $25 or $24.98, and that's for twins, and then it'll probably slowly progress up. And of course, we talk about his cross. Talk about a few things. I want to go ahead and play this. I know it's a little long. I do apologize, but we cover a lot of information. I thought it was worth it, and I have a lot of respect for Mike Lindell, as you will probably see. Check it out. Well, everybody, it's that special time. I get to have I like to say good friend. I feel like I'd like to think of you as a friend, sir, even though it's way too early, way too soon to tell. But Mike Lindell, one of the greatest, biggest fighters that we've got for election integrity, certainly, and just for the American way and our freedoms. Mike, you had a big piece of your case. Finally, jury came back. I don't want to get in the way of that. I want you to kind of describe what happened. I did mention it yesterday, but this is a pretty big deal, and I know there's still another step to take. But, yeah, give us the rundown on what happened, anything that really stands out in your mind.
Well, everybody, let's take it back. Remember, everybody, back in January of 2021 and February, in that era, over 100 people, or almost 100 people, platforms were sued by the voting machine companies or their affiliates, and only one manufacturer, one company, MyPillow, was sued though, and so this was a landmark case where MyPillow goes in there amongst one of my old media platforms, and then myself, 3 defendants, and I was the only one. We were the only ones so far that went all the way to jury trial. Everybody else succumbed to all the insurance companies. We got to settle, or they out of fear, the person or platform just says, you know what, we're going to pay out. We don't want to go bankrupt. But you guys, we went all the way to the jury trial. I was there almost a month in Denver, and against all odds, because when I say that, against all odds, MyPillow came out 100% completely validated, and no defamation whatsoever. And I want to tell everybody the reason I say against all odds, the judge ruled or said right away, all these statements were defamatory. You just have to decide now if there was conspiracy or did he believe what he was saying, things like this. And I'm going, what? Don't they get to decide if it's defamatory at all? No. And it was almost like having 30 to 35 things they ruled on. It's almost like if you took each statement, even ones that I didn't make, guilty by association, where it was I guilty by association. So I was very happy with the ruling coming back because I want everybody to hear this. When they did closing arguments, their lawyer, their horrible, corrupt lawyer in my mind, because here's what he said, and you guys can do your own, figure your own thing here, what you think, make up your own mind on what you think this kind of person he is. His closing argument said, as you all know, we've heard that Mike Lindell was worth $50 million and now he's $10 million in the hole for his net worth, but we want a verdict of, we suggest a verdict of $60 million, but you can make it higher. This is what he said to the jury, but you can make it higher.
Wow.
And we realized this will probably bankrupt. Don't make your decision on worrying about bankrupting Mike Lindell and My Pillow because if you do it, he brought this on himself. And then he said, and besides, we need to send a message to the country that if you question elections with disinformation and misinformation like Mike Lindell, this is what could happen to you. He said this to the jury.
That's insane.
It was disgusting. Their whole motives is not about the money. They know I don't have any money, but their motive was to keep the voting machines in this country, and all the evidence that was that was suppressed by the judge, we brought in. All of a sudden, they switched the whole trial kind of switched to the machines and to the 2020 election. I'm going, okay.
Was it Smartmatic or Dominion that was actually going after you? Which one of
Dominion, but
Dominion,
Smartmatic, but hold it, but Smartmatic lawyers were in the courthouse.
Oh, okay.
So,
I thought it was Smartmatic for some reason, and I saw the Dominion stuff going on. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah. No, they were all there. They're all in one.
And why was it Colorado? Was that because of Tina Peters and all that, or how did it end up in Colorado?
No, that's because the Eric Coomer, the VP for Dominion, they're based in Colorado.
Gotcha, gotcha.
But here's another thing that was suppressed, everybody. This administration, our great president, is going after Colorado for what happened. And he, a week ago on Wednesday, before the jury deliberated, he sent a order to the state of Colorado to get all their election records from 2020 and 2022 and 2024. Well, let me tell you, there ain't going to be any election records. They'll be lucky if they still have 2024s because Colorado is notorious. They delete everything. And they're supposed to hold it 22 months and 25 months by Colorado law. So the corruption's all going to be revealed. I was just very happy My Pillow getting vindicated, and it's a landmark decision, you guys. If My Pillow, if they'd have went after him and got something out of him, no matter what that would have been, if they'd have ruled somehow My Pillow was part of this, imagine any advertiser in the United States that would advertise on any program, podcast, billboard, I don't care where, and all of a sudden if they have something against them, you go after the advertiser, like they're promoting that. It's horribly disgusting. And
it's suing the gun makers and a lot of the stuff. This seems to be the new trend they're doing in the lawfare. But yes, please continue.
That's exactly what they're doing. And then everyone says, well, Mike, I read in the news that you owe $2.3 million or whatever. Well, number one, what do you think they're going to say? They're going to cherry pick out there. And what they did, what's left, you guys? Here's what's left. They pulled out two things that I said. Both times it's when My Pillow was attacked by this guy in Dominion. Remember, My Pillow was sued in February by Dominion. Then in April, when I made the one statement, they made a deal with Newsmax, and My Pillow couldn't go on there anymore to talk about pillows and the great things we're doing and hiring veterans, all these things. And then the next time was when I said something was when they sued me at a press conference right in the state capital of Colorado, and my company got sued. You'd think I wasn't upset? Yeah. So here's what I compare it to, and I did this comparison. I want everybody to wrap their head around this. This, to me, is here I felt like you're being put in jail or in prison for something you never did, and then you yell at the guards and you get charged because you yelled at the guards on something you shouldn't have been there in the first place. You follow me?
Yeah, and then I saw the word too, and I don't necessarily want to say it right now, but it was kind of stupid. I mean, one of the charges anyway that I feel like they're still, of the three, I understand. But it was just, you used a word. I mean, you called someone a name. You called someone a tyrant, I guess. And they were being that way. They were behaving that way. And you, like you said, you were angry, and there was a lot going on, and attacks happened. I don't understand how that's illegal.
I actually said they were I said him and his lawyers were part of the biggest criminal crime family. I said they've done crimes against all humanity.
Yeah,
I mean,
good for you, though.
Boy, and
I'm grateful though that you did this because of how much attention you're bringing to this, and so again, so much great sacrifice that you've made for this country, and Mike, I don't think a lot of people appreciate that. And then on top of that, just the hours and pain and money that you've had to dish out for this whole thing. I mean, again, just I want to say I'm proud of you. I know it sounds stupid, but I am. I mean, I'm so grateful for people like you fighting the fight. This is so important.
And we've had, an outpouring of support. If you go to any of my social media platforms, you guys, I don't care what it is. I'm on every one of Getter, Gab, X, Vocal, Truth Social. I mean, it doesn't matter. Just go to my pin, or go to my at Real Mike Lindell, go to my pin tweet, and we've got all the information you need there, and it would help us just to share that. But like you say, I got to get the word out. My big win, I said before this trial, I wanted it to be the gateway to getting rid of the machines once and for all in our country, like 132 other countries have. And you're right. I mean, it raised awareness. People around the country going, oh, they're attacking Mike again. He's still talking. And we've got great things coming, you guys. That's why I encourage you to follow. You really could follow Vocal, VOCL. That's my social media platform where we put all the election crime bureaus on there, and all the election stuff is on there. And you guys can really get educated. Education is key. Knowing what's going on in your state, in your county. And this isn't, all the stuff going on right now. We're at a level, probably the highest level of being on the offense since the 2020 election. And what I mean by that, we have stuff going on in every state. Of course, there's still blockers. I mean, start with Arkansas. I mean, what's going on in Arkansas right now, and I don't even have time on this podcast, it's disgusting. Yeah. They're making, the people want paper ballots there. They're going, no, you need to keep machines. And we have 98% of the machines that they're, and by the way, one of the things in the trial, the big thing was you go back in time, and I'm saying China interfered in our election. That's who I've said. I've said it from the get-go. And who are their accomplices? The deep state globalists and the uniparty.
And that just came out with the FBI. That just came out with the FBI.
And it just came out with the FBI, the
huge.
CCP.
Yep, huge.
Kind of huge. And this, so everything, anyone that says, who defamed who, and I've been called a conspiracy theorist for, and been attacked on from Wikipedia on down. I've been called everything under the sun for 4 years. But everything I've been preaching is coming true. It's all people's eyes are getting open, and they say, "Well, Mike, you don't have any evidence. You don't have any evidence." By the way, the judge suppressed when I realized they were going towards machines, and they brought up this Dr. Doug Frank, and that he's a high school math teacher that worked for me. I'm going, yeah, that's one of the jobs he has. But guess what? His students had 145 IQs or better. The guy's up for a Nobel Prize. 66 peer-reviewed journals. I mean, it was disgusting. The judge would not let that in and would not let what he had for evidence in. Now, the evidence he brought in, and I want everybody, you can watch Scientific Proof. I encourage you all to watch it on lindelltv.com. You watch Scientific Proof, and anyone that ever tells you there's no evidence, all that evidence in Scientific Proof comes right from the states. I went around for a year and a half and gathered all the information I could from every single state, and have paid millions of dollars to do it.
It's all the crazy disparities in the numbers. And again, you are a major numbers guy. That is one of your keys to success, I think, is your ability to kind of find the patterns in the numbers. And that was one of the big things we saw with the voter registration, with the changes at the specific times of day and the jumps and all of this stuff happened just like clockwork across the nation. And again, I wouldn't know this if it hadn't been for the election symposiums that you put on, by the way. You've just been such a huge stalwart into helping us move through this process. I'm one quick question on that case, if we can, before we get into the MyPillow stuff. But if more of this information comes out, much like what happened with China being involved with the driver's licenses and all that stuff, as more of that information comes out, are you able to bring that into evidence in this appeal that you've got coming, or is that like you just can't? Or I don't know, how does that work?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There'll be all kinds of stuff we can add. Now we kind of know what angle they were coming from, and remember, I have the two monster lawsuits are still out there. And they figure the one could be 3 more years. I mean, you think about this, and remember, everybody, one of the first cases in the country with the machines was called the Curling-Rassenberger case down in Georgia. That case went on for years, started, I think, back in 2018. So 2018, this case starts, Democrats against the Secretary of State. That time he was actually I think he was, could have been the governor, I'm not sure. Or no, it was Secretary of State I think it was Kemp at the time, then he moved to governor, but this was all against Rassenberger. And these Democrats put this case up in Georgia, and now it went on, a year goes by, another year. Now get this, everybody. So in the spring of 20, hold on one second, sorry.
No, it's okay.
In the spring of, in the fall of 23, the judge finally rules and says, you know what, we're going to move this case forward, and you're not a conspiracy theorist if you question these machines. So she made that great ruling. Then, in January of 24, everybody, just a little over a year ago, or a year and a half ago, Alex Halderman, who was a witness against me, this expert, hacked into the voting machine right in front of her in January with a ballpoint pen and flipped the whole election.
I remember that.
Now, but here's the kicker. Now this judge is trapped, right? And now you have Republicans and Democrats. You have multiple plaintiffs against Rassenberger, right? Against the Secretary of State to get rid of these machines in Georgia. Now this judge, Obama-appointed judge, and I called it. I said, there's no way. That's too much pressure. There's no way she's going to wait, she's going to wait till after the 2024 election. Well, she did that, everybody. She waited, but now get this. Now she still has to make a ruling. What did she do 2 months ago? She came out and said, I'm dumping the whole case on no standing.
Nice.
No standing, everybody. I mean, after 7 years, you just get rid of it. It was horrific what she did.
Man, dude,
I mean, to crazy. Just dump it and say they didn't have standing. Isn't that something?
Oh, wow. That is crazy. Yeah, and again, that Georgia, what happened there was just a mess. It cost us 2 senators and everything else. And the other thing, too, we are seeing progress, and I think this is because of your hard work as well, is the registrations are getting cleaned up in a lot of different states. There's a lot of states, there's lawsuits removing the dead people. I think the Doge has helped bring a lot of that information forward, so they're able to check their voter rolls better, and we seem like we're making great progress in that regard, too.
Right, but you guys, and I'm going to say this, with all the things that look like progress can be very like smoke and mirrors. And here's an example. Okay, we have electronic machines, but we have a paper backup. Rubbish.
Yeah.
That is complete rubbish. All the elections we have paper, but they're counted with the computers, an electronic computer. It doesn't matter. When are you ever going to be able to compare that with the paper? You're not.
Yeah.
Or a lot of them just prints the paper out anyway. And if you can't read the QR codes, it don't matter.
If there's a machine involved, it can be altered. It can be changed. It's easy to do. In fact, that's the sad part.
Just like you do bring up one thing though, that when we talk about the voter rolls, like in Wisconsin, you have 7.2 million people on their voter rolls. If everybody voted in Wisconsin that could, it's 4.1 million.
Wow.
Where's these other 3 million names come from, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of names too.
That's a lot of names. And if you do clean them, but it's not, like I say, it's a Band-Aid. I'll give an example. Florida had pretty clean voter rolls, but they, when I say that, there probably be an extra, 600,000 to 700,000 names that shouldn't be there. Well, in the 2020 election, they actually ran out of names that they could use. And when you run out of names on the voter rolls, you have to flip people's votes at the day of the election.
Yeah.
So what happened was they were going to take Texas in the 2020 election. Now, here's what happened. The most votes stole were for Donald Trump in the state of California, 1.5 million. According to our records, the cast vote records and the data records and all that we put together, the second state they stole the most was Texas, 1 million votes. Third, Florida, which was about 800,000.
Yeah, they need to turn those two red states blue, and then California, they're afraid people will see how red this state actually is.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Yep.
You got to skim, you got to steal from everywhere, so it doesn't stand out so big, and that's been their whole thing. So, but we are getting there. We have a lot of wins, and you're going to hear about it. Everybody, you're going to hear about so many things now coming out over the next 4 weeks. And 4 weeks actually within, 4 to 6 weeks, I would say. But the word is we got to get the word out. Keep getting the word out.
Amen.
of these victories,
Yes.
and we will get there.
Like I said, I'm going to keep talking about it, and like I was telling you before we started recording, I'm always attaching you to the voter movement and trying to get our elections under control and get them back to paper ballots. You've been just such a huge part of that movement, deserve mass quantities of credit for it, and I don't think a lot of people realize, if I can't imagine having $50 million, right? But I'll tell you this, I can imagine maybe having a smaller number of that and then having to give up a huge percentage of that for something that I believe in. Exactly. And like you said before, though, if I don't fight for this, there's not going to be anything left to fight for. Right, and so, again, I've just loved where you've come from on this, and I appreciate what you put your money where your mouth is, and you put your whole life and family on the line, and I can't say thank you enough. I appreciate you so much for that.
Well, thank you. And
the great deals.
And we had right. And speaking of great deals, what we did to My Pillow to finance this trial, we took the sheets we had in our warehouse, and because we had to say, hey, what do we have here for assets? And we did basically liquidated a huge part of them at $49.98, which you can still get right now. Yeah, the Giza Dream sheets, and as many, any size, any color, $49.98. That's Cal Kings, king size, queen size. It doesn't matter. And if you order today, we're putting in a free My Pillow 2.0, and with God, all things are possible. Nice. So you get that with any order.
Is that the roll and go, or is that like the full size?
That's the roll and go. That's the My
sweet,
Pillow 2.0 roll and go. And what's the promo code you have?
OTF. OTF on the Fringe. OTF.
Use that because we're leaving it up for this. A lot of this is an exclusive right now, actually. So you get the Giza Dream sheets, any size, any color. Any order, you're going to get that My Pillow 2.0 roll and go with God. All things are possible. And I'm going to throw in one more thing with that OTF. If you buy $100 or more, I'm going to match you with $100 in free digital gifts. And I just added extra to that today.
Nice.
You're going to be so surprised. It's going to blow you away. Those it's worth it all just enough there. And I'll tell you, We also have the crosses I'm wearing.
Yeah.
I made the
50% off right now.
50% off, yeah. So you guys, you're supporting. It's a win-win-win. You're getting the best products ever made.
Dawn told me, too, that I guess the Giza thing is ending on Sunday. But she told us we've got a new deal. You're knocking another $5 off the percale sheets, too. I think $25.98 or something like that.
$24.98. The summer sheets, the percale sheets, as low as $24.98. That's the twin size and twin XL. And all of those, we're basically putting them out there for wholesale prices because we've got to. There's a lot of expenses when I get off here, and I'm actually getting on with the lawyers, and we're going to look at now how much is this going to cost to appeal what was left.
So we got some more sales coming soon, probably. Yes, we have to liquidate more assets. Oh, Lord.
Absolutely.
Mike's tough times are good times for you guys, folks. So go to mypillow.com/OTF and take advantage of this, please. Pretty please. Mike,
absolutely.
Thank you so much for everything you're doing for us. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to chatting with you in another couple of weeks. Again, thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, see ya. Bye.
Oh, my God, there's two of me. That's so weird. Anyway, I know that was a little long, guys, but hopefully you enjoyed the information that was coming out. So, again, go to mypillow.com/OTF. Make sure you take advantage of those great deals that are being passed on to us because Mr. Lindell is having a bit of a tricky time right now. X is suing New York. New York is trying to essentially stifle free speech, it very much sounds like. This complaint filed in the Southern District of New York targets Senate Bill S-89-5B, which X Corp argues is an unconstitutional intrusion into editorial freedom. The law, the company contends, is, quote, an impermissible attempt by the state to inject itself into the content moderation editorial process. Key to the lawsuit is the content category report provision, which compel platforms to disclose whether and how they moderate categories of speech. Noncompliance could result in daily fines of up to $15,000, and lawsuits from the New York Attorney General Letitz James. X Corp asserts that the law violates both the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and Article 1, Section 8 of the New York Constitution. So, once again, Letitz James doesn't give a shit about the law at all, it seems. Why some LA biz owners want to leave because of the riots, but can't. Long story short, very small number of people are actually happy with where they're at. When they did a survey, 80,000 small businesses here in California, only 13% of these small businesses say they're happy with their current location, nearly 40% lower than the national average. 40% lower than the national average. That's how bad it is here in California. That's really, really messed up. In California, however, 67% say they are either planning a move, 10%, considering one, 30%, or feel stuck wanting to move but unable to afford it, 27%. Now, again, the math doesn't work. There's obviously a lot of people that aren't even bothering to answer that question or whatever the case is or whatever. But needless to say, yeah, California is definitely not a place you want to open a business. California legislature passes a record $325 billion budget with $10 to $20 billion deficits ahead. It's crazy, the stuff that's going on out here. Overspending big time. Gavin Newsom is just looking worse and worse and worse. A lot of the things that he was even trying to put in there didn't necessarily go in there. Newsom was calling for reinstituting an asset test for Medi-Cal enrollment, ending Medi-Cal coverage for weight loss drugs such as Ozempic, ending in-home supportive services coverage for illegal immigrants, and limiting in-home supportive services overtime. The legislature analysis of the adopted budget estimates that pausing new illegal immigrant enrollment in Medi-Cal will save about $3.3 billion per year. Getting rid of the weight loss drug, that's going to save about $680 million per year. And reinstating Medi-Cal asset limits for seniors at $130,000 will save up to $510 million a year. We'll see what actually passes. But this budget, I think, has to be done, was it by the end of July? Something like that. Somewhere in that vicinity. Yeah, July 1st. Not even close. Whoops. End of June. Start of July. Crapola. Not a lot of time. Bessent reveals all on Musk clash. Says he's more ninja-like. It's kind of cool what he said. And again, he's not throwing Musk under the bus in any way, shape, or form. Kind of describes the way that conversation went. And it was pretty cool how he did it. He says, we have had disagreements, but we both want to get to the same place, Bessent said. We both want to eliminate the waste, fraud, and abuse in government. The Silicon Valley mode of operation is move quickly and break things. I always say here at the Treasury, we move deliberately and fix things. I think Elon's probably fancies himself more of a Viking. I think I'm more of a ninja. Again, maybe Musk might have had a tricky time with the ninja because, I'd rather be a ninja than a Viking, I think. I don't know why. Ninjas are cool and stealthy and they have a little throwing sword. I don't know. It's something I wanted to be when I was a kid. All that kind of crazy stuff. Vikings are just rape and pillage kind of people. But Musk has 13 kids. So, rape and pillage is kind of his thing. Who knows? Who knows? Not trying to be a dick to Musk. We've got right here a couple discussions with Pete Hegseth, and I thought it went really well. We got Pocahontas next. I thought that one was pretty funny because she tries desperately to, shut him down every which way she possibly can and fails every which way she possibly can. This lady was just being a biatch, and Hegseth, I think, answers the questions beautifully. Again, two great examples of Hegseth just being like, yawn, you're boring me, people.
Was there a specific justification for General Hawk's dismissal? Was there a specific justification for General Hawk's dismissal?
Ma'am, we all serve at the pleasure of the president, and the president deserves the type of commanders and advisors that he thinks will best equip him to accomplish the mission.
Did you discuss General Hawk's dismissal with Laura Loomer prior to his removal?
I don't discuss who I talk about anything with, but ultimately this is my decision, and he serves at the pleasure of the president, and that's why he's no longer there.
So do you believe it's appropriate for any social media personality to influence personnel decisions in your department, yes or no?
I believe your time is up, Senator.
Oh, it is not up to you to tell me when my time is up.
Well, the time
And I am going to say, Mr. Secretary, you're either feckless or complicit. You're not in control of your department. You're as unserious. It is shocking. You're not combating anti-Semitism within your ranks. It's a dangerous and pivotal time in our nation's history. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back. And I don't appreciate the smirk, sir. You are the Secretary of Defense.
And you're a whore. Probably. I don't know for sure, but she strikes me as a whore. She's got whore written all over her face, at least. Whore. Needless to say, here's Pocahontas being Pocahontas.
Secretary Hegseth, if the president wanted to deploy Marines to Chicago and New York City like he did in Los Angeles, would you carry out that order even if the local governors and mayors objected?
Well, Senator, because Governor Newsom was unwilling to address
that's not
protecting federal law enforcement agents in Los Angeles, President Trump had all the authorities and the Defense Department happily supported defending our ICE agents in the conduct of their job. They have the right as Americans to be able to do their job without being attacked by mobs. And we will protect them in that process. And if other states needed it, we would provide that.
I know that you heard my question. So you would be willing to send troops if the president ordered it to Chicago, New York City? That's right.
Well, thankfully, New York City, unlike California, unlike Gavin Newsom, is willing to step up and address the issue with their local law enforcement.
I will take that as a yes. How about if the president says he wants to send troops to 15 cities? Would you be willing to do that?
Senator, I don't accept your hypothetical because it's
That's a hypothetical.
Not a real
That's
one.
the question. You're the Secretary of Defense. Would you send troops to 15 cities if the president said do it? Would you do it? 15 cities.
Again, Senator, it's a complete hypothetical lacking any context at all.
You're the Secretary
and I refuse
of
to
Defense.
box myself in based on
You
questioning
can refuse,
on a hypothetical.
But you're here asking for $1 trillion, and I want to know how you're going to spend it. And so my question is, if Donald Trump tells you to send troops to 15 American cities, are you going to spend the money and send the troops?
Thankfully, we're spending money on securing our southern border, a way the previous administration abandoned and allowed 21 million illegals to enter our country. So defending our homeland is a real serious priority under this administration, and we're doing it.
I understand the question about defense. Secretary Hegseth, about 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 Marines have been sent to L.A. Is there a number of troops deployed to American cities over the objections of governors and mayors at which you would be concerned that we are undermining our national defense?
Senator, we've spent 2 decades guarding other people's borders. We think at the Defense Department it's about time we shore up ours.
So that's my question. Is there a number at which sending those troops to Los Angeles or Chicago or New York starts to undermine our ability to defend ourselves around the globe? Is there a number?
Senator, we look at capabilities and readiness around the globe all the time, and we're quite satisfied with our capabilities to defend the homeland, and we'll provide more if and when it's necessary.
So you are satisfied with our capabilities. Let me just ask, have you actually done the analysis and figured out how many troops you can deploy domestically before you start to undermine readiness around the world? Have you done that analysis?
Yes, ma'am.
Then would you let the rest of us in on it? We are the Senate Armed Services Committee, and you're here to ask for $1 trillion. What's the number?
We've got contingencies and plans for any number of capabilities should governors be unable, as Gavin Newsom has been, to actually secure his own federal agents in their cities.
How many troops can you deploy domestically before you start to cut into our readiness internationally?
As I said, previous administrations deployed our National Guard all around the globe in numbers far beyond what we were capable of supporting. So limited contingencies inside the United States to protect federal law enforcement is doable.
If the Supreme Court orders you to remove troops from American city streets, will you do so?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. If the Supreme Court orders you to remove troops from American cities, will you do so?
As I've said, Senator, I don't believe district courts should determine national security policy, but if the Supreme Court rules on a topic, we will abide by that.
Okay.
Again, his answers are, I think, beautiful. I think the fact that she was trying to pin him on a number for at what point could we get enough rallies and riots going on in this country to where we could then make us weaker around the world? Let's tell the entire world what that number is. Can you please tell all of us what that number is, says Pocahontas. Fucking liar. Oh, I tell you, our Congress is just waste. Erik Prince agrees, fortunately with me. Made me feel a lot better yesterday, or today, really. Erik Prince torches rhinos for screwing America out of Doge cuts. Warns of primaries. Hell yeah. It's disgusting. 100% agree with that. He was talking on the Sean Ryan show. Just speaks really badly about the Republican Party. To a huge amount of those Republicans to not even cut the most egregious, stupid waste. It speaks to the problems of the uniparty and why Trump was fighting not just against the Democrats, but against most of the Republican Party. Because most of the Republican Party is as bad as Democrats. Again, it doesn't matter what letter is next to your name. Senate GOP leader faces pushback after members blindsided by Trump's bill. John Thune is facing strong pushback, but it sounds like he's kind of pushing hard to be like, look, this is what we need to push over the finish line. So people like Josh Hawley are like, I had no idea. This just came out of nowhere. And John Thune is doing his best to fight this fight. Him and Mike Johnson, I mean, again, I wasn't sure about John when he first came in. Obviously, a lot of people were like, he's horrible, he's deep state. He was one of the quieter ones, but he's done okay so far. We'll see. And again, Mike Johnson, I'm very, very happy with the work that he's done, Speaker of the House. We'll see what happens. But yeah, some people are freaking out a little bit. But yeah, Thune is, I think, going to continue pushing this. Thune and Crapo sided with conservatives such as Senators Rick Scott and Roger Marshall, who called for deeper spending cuts than what the House even passed. Thune's actually like, no, let's go deeper. What? I love it. Go deeper. Send that back to the House. That will be awesome. And then I'll yell at the House to make sure they pass it. Oh, fantastic. So we don't have these other idiot senators running around going, you're going to have to close hospitals, you pussy Howley. God, I used to kind of like you. Now I totally don't. You suck. Maybe I'll start liking you again one day. Who knows? Not that you care. We'll see. All right, here's Tucker Carlson being a total dick to Senator Cruz, and I don't know. I kind of liked it. I'm going to be honest. At first, I was expecting to be pissed off at Tucker. Not normally one to take sides with Senator Cruz. I usually just call him a talker because that's all he ever does. He doesn't ever do anything. He just Good job. Do you like how you sound? Do you go back home and listen to it again? You're like, oh, I sound so good. Oy. Here's Tucker Carlson. I got 2 of them beating up on him. I love it.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's, it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know
claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting
this is
Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Hey.
Whoops. That didn't go well. You know what else isn't going to go well? This doesn't go well either. Check this out.
Growing up in Sunday school, I was taught from the Bible, those who bless Israel will be blessed, and those who curse Israel will be cursed. And from my perspective, I want to be on the blessing side of things.
Of those who bless the government of Israel?
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of it, says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my... You pull out the phone and use the...
It's in Genesis. But so you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it. And you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology? I'm confused. What does that even mean?
Tucker.
I'm a Christian. I want to know what you're talking about.
Okay. Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we are commanded to support Israel. But number two...
Hold on.
Hold
on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But hold on, define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
And so is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
the
God's referring to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
And by the way, it's not run by Benjamin Netanyahu as a dictator. It's a democratic country that elected...
He's the prime minister.
Right.
What?
But just like... America is the country run by Donald Trump. No, actually, the American people elected Donald Trump. The same principle
This is silly. I'm talking about the political entity of modern Israel.
Yes, and that is
You believe that's what God was talking about in Genesis.
I do, but
that country's existed since when?
For thousands of years. Now, there was a time when it didn't exist, and then it was recreated just over 70 years ago.
I'm saying, I think most people understand that line in Genesis to refer to the Jewish people, God's chosen people.
That's not what it says.
Okay, Israel, but you don't even know where in the Bible it is.
Once again, and good on Tucker for knowing the exact spot in the Bible. Well done. But Senator Cruz looked like an idiot there, again, like he does frequently. IRGC claims direct missile hit on Israel's Mossad headquarters. It's a pretty big deal. What they're suggesting is this might have been the cyber group. What do they call them? The anti-cyber, what were they? Unit 8200, Israel's elite cyber intelligence division, which may have been destroyed or suffered serious damage. Israel is trying to say, nah, they just hit a parking lot. That doesn't look like a parking lot, first off. Second off, that doesn't look like a parking lot. And from a lot of the pictures that are shown, it doesn't look like a parking lot. So, yeah. And then they were kind of ripping on the defense around the outside of it, which is just this rock wall and some crap wire to keep people out. I don't exactly know what that matters. When they use missiles, that wall doesn't come into play in any way, shape, or form, but needless to say. Ayatollah Khomeini said Iran will resolutely resist an imposed peace. Now, what's funny, article came out yesterday saying that this dude was out of his mind, that they were kind of keeping him isolated, and they weren't telling him any of the stuff that was going on because he's just, he's losing it, right? Well, somehow this dude gets up and does a speech, or someone that looks like him that's maybe more with it, and says he declared in comments on Wednesday that the Islamist regime would resolutely oppose peace with Israel, America, or any of Israel's allies if Iran considers the terms of peace to be imposed from abroad. So no way to force them into peace. It'll only work if they agree to the peace. Iran is making it borderline impossible, aren't they? Now, for all the people that think the war should stop no matter what do you guys think? You should just be like, all right, we tried, sorry, just kick the rock down the road? Or do we take away his ability to make nuclear weapons? It's a tough decision. Very tough decision. By the way, I'm going to get to a spot where I've been an idiot for a little while. For you military folks that really know your stuff about bunker busters specifically, you guys are going to be happy that I finally woke up, if I haven't lost you completely already. For those of you that had no idea I was wrong, well, at least I wasn't totally wrong. I was just sort of wrong. We'll get there. Trump touts total control of Iranian airspace, says U.S. knows where the Ayatollah is hiding. So no matter what, you're never going to agree, but we know exactly where you are, and anytime we want, we could get you. Now, again, many have said, you take out this current Ayatollah, and you end up with another Ayatollah, one that you don't know anything about. This one, we know very well. He's been there a long time. One that we don't know, who knows? Could be much worse, could be better. Who knows? It's kind of a tough decision. Here's Trump talking about the negotiations with Iran.
About whether you are moving closer, or you believe the U.S. is moving closer to striking Iranian nuclear facilities. Where's your mindset on that?
I can't say that, right? You don't seriously think I'm going to answer that question? Will you strike the Iranian nuclear component? And what time exactly, sir? Sir, would you strike it? Would you please inform us so we can be there and watch? I mean, you don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do. I can tell you this, that Iran's got a lot of trouble, and they want to negotiate. And I said, why didn't you negotiate with me before? All this death and destruction. Why didn't you negotiate? I said to the people, why didn't you negotiate with me 2 weeks ago? You could have done fine. You would have had a country. It's very sad to watch this. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It's so, everyone thought it was going to be the reverse. I didn't think so. And I was telling them, you got to do something. You got to negotiate. And at the end, last minute, they said, no, we're not going to do that. And they got hit. Remember 60 days? And then came the 60. 61 is going to become a very famous number. That was one hell of a hit, that first hit. That was one hell of a hit. Not sustainable, to be honest. That's where it ended. It ended on the first night, yes.
Is it too late, though? Do you think it's too late to now?
Really, nothing's too late. The only thing too late is Powell. Powell's too late. Too late, Powell.
Have the Iranians reached out to you, Mr. President?
I love it. And again, the huge point, one, are we going to announce that we're going to do the attack? No. That's just insanity. So this whole problem, the press trying to get in front of this, it's borderline ridiculous in my opinion. Israel says it has destroyed Iran's internal security HQ. That's a pretty big deal. I don't think we got any pictures of it. But their security folks, which is pretty powerful. Air Force planes have just destroyed the headquarters of the Iranian regime's internal security, the central suppression arm of the Iranian dictator. So these are the people that hold down the revolts and whenever the people try to rise up. I think ultimately that's what we're trying to get to happen, is we're trying to get the Iranian people to rise up and take back control of their country. I feel like that's a big part of the play that we're making. Obviously trying to shut down them militarily, trying to take away Khomeini's power any way we can. And again, we hear nothing from the president, which I think is interesting, of Iran. The dude is just a figurehead, I think, ultimately. But we'll see. Israel says we are hitting Fordow, which is the very secret bunker. This is where they do the uranium enrichment. It is the one that's underneath the mountain where the bunker busters are going to come into play. Israel's saying we're going to hit it with or without the United States. Now, Israel is known to not have the proper bunker busters. But, if they used the older ones, likely, they actually might be able to, if they hit it, like, literally, I'm not joking, like 20 times, like not right at once, but like hit it once, then hit it again, and just keep hitting that same exact spot, because that's what we do with the big bunker busters. If we were to do this, we would launch, they say 2. I would bet we would launch 4. These bunker busters that we're going to use are, I think they're MOP is what they're called, and I've got the specifics here in a sec. They're like supposedly 500 million each. We only have like 24 of them or something like that. We don't have that many of them. But this is what we built them for. This and probably North Korea and Russia probably too, but mostly Iran. And a lot of this comes down, I actually saw a really cool thing. It talked about all the different kinds of concrete, the way concrete has evolved, the different forms of concrete, the way they now make these bunkers where there's layers of different kinds of concrete, the very top layer being one that's meant to be very hard to penetrate, and then from there they make it where they start to absorb damage better, and it's pretty amazing, the technology that goes into bunker building, and then obviously bunker busting kind of follows shortly there behind. So Israel is saying no matter what, we're hitting them. Done. Now, Pete Hegseth defers to General on Pentagon's plans for Iran. A lot of people, Politico specifically, trying to make this sound like we got some sort of dictator running around with this particular general. My guess is we got the right guy in place. That's it. This dude's like, all right, this is what we need. This is what we got to have. Get it to me, and then I'll take care of business. So Pete Hegseth giving an unusual level of authority, says Politico. U.S. Central Command Chief General Erik Kurilla has played an outsized role in the escalating clash between Iran and Israel, with officials noting nearly all of his requests have been approved for more aircraft carriers to fighter planes in the region. So this general is kind of known as the gorilla. He's overruling other top Pentagon officials and playing a quiet but decisive role in the country's next steps in Iran. So yeah, this if senior military guys come across a tough and warfighters, Hegseth is easily persuaded to their point of view, said the former official. Kurilla has been very good at getting what he wants. Yeah, so this is a big-time fight. And I think we've got the right people in play for what is finally happening. Whenever Politico starts slamming something, it's probably right on target, right? All right, so here's the bomb that I had been confusing for a long time, and this is where I got it stuck in my head that this was how the bunker busters worked. Back during the Iraq War, we realized we had a problem with the bunkers they had there. We needed a bunker buster that was capable of going much further into the ground than we currently had. I think they were looking for like a few hundred feet. Was it? Diameter? I don't know if it's got the actual, how far deep it can go. I want to say this guy was, he could go like 100 feet or so. Anyway, he was what it was built from was a modified 203 millimeter artillery barrel. This is what I'd been talking about, and I thought, frankly, the newer ones had the same kind of concept going on. They don't. And oddly, the newer ones don't even have like a sharp tip. For whatever reason, they're not designed that way. Kind of messes with your mind a little bit, because you would think if it's got a sharp tip, it's going to dig through the dirt better, like a lawn dart, but not necessarily needed. So the GBU 28s, they were actually created within like a month, like 28 days or something crazy like that. This was back in January 1991 for the Persian Gulf War. This is what they came up with. They were laser guided. They were extremely accurate, and they did the job. They did it admirably. This is our current bunker buster. Yeah, the BLU 109 bomb. It is hardcore. This thing is extraordinary, and it is the way I guess I've heard it described is it not only blows vertically, but it blows horizontally. So the way these things work is they fall, and they'll crush through all sorts of layers of concrete and dirt and everything else, but concrete for sure. And what they do is they go through as far as they can and then blow out and up. And then another B-2 just shortly right behind it, or probably drops it even maybe seconds apart, minutes apart. I don't know how that works. Probably close by. Drop a second one into the exact same hole. Boop, boom, and they blow it up either even further or all the way. Now, the reason I suspect that they're going to use 4 is because based off of some of these numbers, the penetration needed and the level of concrete that Iran has gotten very good at using, it would probably need more than 2. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but just based off of some of the stuff I've been digging into here recently, it seems like 2 wouldn't quite be enough. I know it would cost us basically $2 billion if we shot 4 of them or dropped 4 of them. But that might be what we need to do. Apparently this thing's so large, the current one anyway, the only plane that can actually drop it is the B-1 bomber. So this thing's 20 feet in length. It's 31 inches in diameter, so almost 3 feet in diameter. Total weight is 30,000 pounds. The warhead is 5,300 pounds. It can only be dropped from the B-2. It's probably why the B-2s are sitting in Diego Garcia right now. And they're primarily used in strategic military operations where deeply buried targets must be neutralized without the use of nuclear weapons. This includes command centers, nuclear facilities, or munitions depots located underground. The MOP can only be deployed from B-2. It has been crucial. Let's see, do they give us any stats on it in here? No. I think this is just an example of one hitting a very small concrete thing.
Because we do have much more capable weapons in our inventory.
Pretty crazy. But yes, these bunker busters are kind of the way to go. There's not a lot of ways to stop them. Either A, you shoot the plane down that's carrying them in advance. B, you try to shoot them down while they're falling in the sky. Or C, you try to somehow interfere with the ability of the software to guide it to its particular location. Their GPS tracking wouldn't work on this because we use a different kind of GPS with our military stuff. So I don't think their filtering or their tracking or whatever their what do they call it? Their blocking would work. We'll see. Trump's doomsday plane makes an unusual trip, they say, and this probably has a lot to do with Iran. They have moved it from Louisiana to Maryland on Tuesday, so it's now significantly closer to the White House. I'm not sure if this is necessarily the plane the president would hop on. Typically, he could, or maybe the vice president could go up on this and Trump goes into somewhere else. But whatever the case is, the E-4 Night Watch, a.k.a. the doomsday plane, is a flying command post. This is one of the safest planes built, supposedly. And, yeah, it's interesting that they brought it over where they have. Here's Trump asked a comment about Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
Share some of what you've told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
So keep going. What do I say? I speak to him every day. He's a good man, doing a lot. Been very unfairly treated by his country, I think. Very unfairly treated.
Have you given him any indication that you may seek to aid them more than you have already?
No, I haven't. So far, he's done a good job. He has been treated very unfairly. You know, he's a wartime president, and he's going through this nonsense. It's ridiculous.
Sounds like you got a good meeting. Kind of similar to what they're doing to Trump, too. So you can understand why Trump might have some respect for the man. Whether he's good or bad, I don't know. I don't know if it matters right this second. It might in the not-too-distant future. As President Trump urges Iran's unconditional surrender amid Israel's campaign to wipe out the nuclear weapons aspirations, the USS Ford Carrier Strike Group is going to be positioned strategically in the eastern Mediterranean Sea over near Israel. So this will be able to assist shooting down rockets, probably a number of things that it's going to be able to support, and quite possibly even attacks into Iran. We'll see how things continue to play out. This is Iran State TV. Supposedly got hacked. I don't need to play this video per se, but they're playing stuff on there that is definitely not pro-Iranian Ayatollah type crap. In fact, probably more freedom. I think I was a couple places where I saw people doing peace signs and stuff, which I don't think they're real fond of. So, again, that's an interesting piece of changed information out there. TWC.health/OTF. The Wellness Company. TWC.health/OTF. Just a couple great, well, they got a lot of great products, huge great products. Their supplements are incredible. I think very well priced. I've talked about their emergency kits a bunch. The contagion kit's got your ivermectin. It's got your, not bendazole, but it's got the ivermectin. It's got the HCQ. It's got the Z-Pack. It's got another antiviral. It's got a bunch of great stuff. It is what you want to have just to make sure no matter what happens, if some sort of weird viral thing gets released again, you have a kit that can save your life. Also, their medical kit has a bunch of stuff like amoxicillin or any other whole bunch of different antibiotics. Very powerful kit to look into. Again, their emergency kits are awesome. awesome. The one I can't stop talking about is this ivermectin mebendazole. I have been enjoying this cleanse that I'm going through. I am finally I think some of it too is just stopping the drinking. I think really helped because I think having a lot of alcohol in your system, I actually think helps the parasites a bunch. So the second I kind of stopped doing that, I actually noticed a huge change very quickly. But all said, I've been noticing a lot of improvements just doing this parasite cleanse. If you haven't done any research into parasites and how they're related to cancer and many other things right now, do some digging. And if you're somebody that's suffering from one of these things that are probably related to parasites, a parasite cleanse is definitely an answer you want to look into. $599 seems like a lot of money. It's a 3-month supply. You are literally going to remove all parasites from your body. It is 25 milligrams of ivermectin. That's a pretty strong dose. It's done by a doctor, so don't sweat it. Also, 250 milligrams of mebendazole is also a pretty strong dose of mebendazole. You're doing both of those once a day for 90 days. This will knock out parasites, and you will be amazed at how you will feel. You'll be amazed because you'll be like, holy crap, I didn't realize how bloated or how energetic I was, or how much energy I had lost, or how just I felt, or how certain weird skin things were showing up. And I just thought it was, I'm just getting old. There's a lot of things that don't have to happen and are likely tied to parasites. Highly recommend this. Go to twc.health/OTF, twc.health/OTF. Take your health into your own hands because we know the government doesn't care. Not even a little. Iron ore prices have tumbled to a 9-month low. Many are saying this cites an actual reduction in China's manufacturing. China is one of the largest users of ore, iron ore specifically, and they use 70% of it worldwide. Those numbers have dropped significantly because China's manufacturing has hugely declined. China's going through a major, huge problem right now in a number of weird ways. They're purging some of their top Chinese generals. Shows Central Military Commission is in disarray. Literally, this General He Weidong, I'm hoping I'm saying that sort of close to right, once the second highest ranking officer in China's military and a close ally of President Xi, he has been purged 3 months after vanishing from public view. We don't know if he's even alive anymore. He was the vice chairman of the military commission. What it comes down to is there's very few people in the upper echelons of military that are actually close to Xi right now. Many are trying to spin this like Xi's making these changes. Maybe. Don't know. It's hard to say. It's kind of like maybe Trump in his first term versus his second term. And there's a lot of people he didn't use. Maybe Xi is finally ready to make those changes and see if he can get the CCP out of there. And ultimately, many are saying, and I don't know for sure, but many are saying that they think Xi is actually trying to remove the CCP from China so we can actually get to this new world. Iran's being shut down. China's being transformed from the inside and also struggling big time right now. So they're going to have a hard time really pushing too hard out at everyone else as much as they talk tough. They really don't have a lot to offer. We've understand that their population might have reduced a lot more than they're willing to admit. So India could probably wipe them out, even though India is not a very strong military in any way, shape, or form. I mean, China would militarily destroy India. And then missile to missile, China's got pretty incredible missiles. So, I don't know. India is not really capable of offering a threat there. I think India and China are both in the trying to become better partners and stewards with the rest of the planet. I really do think we're moving towards this multipolar world. I've said that many times. I think there's going to be 3 poles. Russia, United States, and China are pretty much going to be the main big brothers of the world. And then hopefully we can all get along. We should. And then I believe we're going to start working together towards a common goal. Again, we'll see how things play out over the next 5 to 10 years. I don't even know if it'll be that long. 5 years for sure. We should start to see some major... We should have a pretty good idea of what's going on in 5 years, I think. Huge idea we should have. So we'll see how things continue to play out. Appeals court seems poised to side with Trump on the National Guard deployment in L.A. There was a small appeals group, just the 3-panel judge. They basically said, look, there's an old Supreme Court case that goes way, way back that shows that presidents have the power of the National Guard. That they are the number one commander-in-chief, right? So all of the justices, even the ones that were like Obama appointed or Biden appointed, whatever one it was, I said, though the three judges didn't officially rule on the matter Tuesday, their leanings were apparent from the start. They noted legal precedent as far back as 1827 in which courts have agreed they have little or no role in examining the validity of a presidential determination on matters of rebellion and unrest. That Supreme Court precedent, in a case known as Martin v. Mott, found that the president is exclusively vested with the power to call up military forces to suppress unrest and that his decision is conclusive upon all other persons. Done. He is the national guy. States, the governors, like I was saying earlier, yeah, normally the governors are kind of in charge of their own National Guard, but ultimately the president is really in charge of the nation's National Guard. It's a National Guard. It's not a state guard. So kind of different, but whatever. Federal judge upholds Trump's admin's $400 million freeze on Columbia University. This one's kind of funny and a good old, like one of those, what's the thing when you poke someone with both your eyes? Whoop, 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 right? Like, I feel like that's kind of what this was. But essentially, this case was brought by like two unions or something like that. And they're like, dude, you guys don't have standing. Get out of here. That was done. And that was it. It was the American Federation of Teachers and the American Association of University Professors. These are the two people that sued. And she ruled that unions had no standing to sue in the first place. So go pound sand, essentially. She said basically the only people that have standing to make this lawsuit is the college, not some stupid labor union. So that one got shut down. Supreme Court upholds Tennessee's ban on gender-affirming care for minors. This was a pretty big deal. A 6-3 decision released on June 18th. The court disagreed with the Biden administration's argument that the law should face higher legal scrutiny than had been applied by an appeals court. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit had upheld Tennessee's law, stating that it passed something known as rational basis review, which is a relatively low level of scrutiny to determine whether the law is constitutional. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the majority opinion. Three of the justices, Justice Sonia Sotomayor, Alina Kagan, and of course Ketanji Brown Jackson, aka Jumanji, dissented from the decision. Writing for the majority, Roberts said that the law didn't classify individuals on the basis of sex and therefore didn't force courts to apply greater scrutiny. Instead, the majority said the law classified individuals according to age. That's actually a big deal. So, again, the people that were against it, meh. I do believe we've got, Clarence Thomas. He talked about this. He had a very specific thing, and he's urging courts to stop deferring to experts on gender-affirming care. Justice Thomas said Wednesday that courts should not defer to self-described experts on gender-affirming care, suggesting it is a matter of medical uncertainty. Thomas' concurring opinion came as the Supreme Court upheld the 6-3 decision. This case carries a simple lesson. In politically contentious debate over matters shrouded in scientific uncertainty, courts should not assume that self-described experts are correct. That is huge. If we can get that to stick all the way across the board, we will have won some major victories, unquestionably. Ketanji Jackson Brown, a.k.a. Jumanji, has earned nearly $3 million from her memoir, Financial Disclosures Show. That sounds like a payoff, doesn't it, guys? Doesn't that sound like a payoff? She got this money in advance, too. By the way, you got to sell a butt ton of books to technically make $3 million off them. Now, again, it was given to her in advance, so she doesn't necessarily have to sell anything. It won't matter. She wrote her stupid book. That's what this is all about, right? She was rewarded for the crazy stuff she's done so far since she's been in the Supreme Court. It's a mess. Gotta love it, though. Which one's this? U.S. District Judge Kathleen Williams held Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer in civil contempt Tuesday for violating her injunction that blocked enforcement of a new state law criminalizing illegal entry into Florida. Uthmeyer initially instructed law enforcement to comply with the injunction despite disagreeing with it. However, 5 days later, he issued a second memo stating the judge was legally wrong and that he could not prevent officers from enforcing the law. And that's the thing. If the court decides the law's not legal, that's one thing. But to say you cops can't enforce this law, that's completely outside of a judge's purview. That's, in fact, opposite of what judges are supposed to do. So this is probably going to be another judge that's going to lose their jobs soon. We are going to see a lot of justices get fired, end up in jail, and unfortunately probably worse, but hopefully not by the hand of anybody on our side of the fence. All right, Strait of Hormuz disruption is surging after former Iranian minister threatens transit restrictions. They're saying starting tomorrow for 100 days. When was this put up? So starting tomorrow, literally, or starting Thursday to make it easier for some that might be watching this on Thursday. Starting on Thursday for 100 days, no oil tankers or LNG cargoes will be able to pass through the straits without Iran's approval. How do you think that's going to go? And again, the Strait of Hormuz is one of the easiest places on the planet to attack ships. It is. It's actually, I think, this one right here, Strait of over here in the Gulf of. That's not the Strait of Hormuz, is it? Because that one's, I think. Here I am again. No, it's this one. Cool. This is one of the most dangerous parts of the world to try to sail through. If you aren't welcome, let's put it that way. Like carriers, I don't think carriers would typically go through here. Submarines even have a hard time because it's extremely shallow. In fact, some of the submarine simulators I've played, some of the missions actually take place in here. This is a freaking hard-ass place to get through. It's very, very shallow. And so you got to be really careful. You got to be really slow. And you can't make a lot of noise or they will find you. But yeah, this is they will likely attack any of these tankers that try to come through. It's going to be interesting how this plays out. But this could very well affect the price of oil in an extreme kind of way. European Union admits Donald is right. What? That had to hurt. Ursula von der Leyen. She expressed agreement with President Donald Trump on China's trade practices during the G7 summit, stating, Donald is right. She emphasized the need to focus on the real challenges posed by China's abusive trade policies rather than disputes over tariffs among allies. Kind of a strong statement and a good one, nonetheless. Federal Reserve on Wednesday said that it will leave its benchmark interest rate unchanged following its June monetary policy meeting, as policymakers continue to monitor inflation and labor market data amid elevated economic uncertainty. Once again, keeping the brakes on the economy. Yeah, Trump is pissed off about this and certainly not helping. Initially, the Dow was up. I was figuring it was going to come down a little bit because of oil. The price of oil was down a teeny bit earlier, too, when I was about to start recording, which is a little bit before noon. And what we see here is, 74.87. So it's already on the rise. It was down at $52 very recently. I don't know, like a month ago, if that, 3 weeks ago, obviously before this war started. And it's continued to go up. This little Hormuz or Gulf, the thing that Iran's doing, Strait of Hormuz, that's going to cause a little bit of a problem for us. Another weird thing that's going on. So these are two graphs here. This is share and global reserves. So global reserves, the gray line is of dollars, and the red line is of gold. Global reserve shares. The dollar is being let go. Big time. And gold is being ramped up. Gold is the new currency. Gold is the new safety. Gold is how we break the Fed. Anybody that's not getting out of this stupid system, the 401ks and IRAs, you've got all your wealth there, folks. What, 20, 30 years you've been dumping money into that 401k, right? You've got your wealth. You've got this big pile of cash that's likely going to get brutalized if you leave it where it's at. The dollar's getting just screwed, and the world is going through some major chaos, and it's affecting stocks in a lot of ways, shapes, and form. There's a lot of BS. They're trying to keep the stock market pumped up as much as they can. Obviously, Donald Trump doesn't necessarily want to see it crash, but I kind of think he does, because ultimately, how else can we fix it? And here's the thing. If we are ever going to get away from the Fed has to crash enough so we can blame them, get them out. The only way we can get the Fed out is if we can show that they have broken their agreement. Because their agreement is to keep inflation under control and to try to help grow our economy. They're not doing either of those things. They're literally putting the brakes on the economy. Inflation is under control, so they're not doing their jobs. This is the complaint. And this is how this needs to play out if we are going to be able to get rid of these people. Look, if you've got a 401k or an IRA, there is a very easy way to get out. There's a lot of steps that are involved in it, but you're not going to have to sweat any of that. Goldco is going to help you do it. They're experts at it. They're the best customer service that's out there. Huge supplier, different suppliers of precious metals, so they can definitely take care of your order. It's a way you can get out of their 401k IRA, tax-free, penalty-free, into a precious metals IRA. That's it. You're still actually getting that deferred savings, which you need from an IRA. You can continue to put money into it if you so desire, or you just diversify some of that into precious metals and you protect it and then keep paying into the normal one that you've been paying. And if you lose, if you lose a quarter of your total life savings, that's one thing versus losing 100% of it, right? Something to keep in mind. Go to drslikesgold.com. 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 4 data points, hit the button. If you call within 20 minutes, it's actually going to make your life easier. You're going to get some freebies thrown at you. Again, up to 10% of the face value, you're getting free silver they're going to offer. Free silver. Silver's so undervalued right now. That is one of the other big things. Gold, I just saw a recent thing come out. They expect it to hit 4,000 easy. I've heard 5,000 from even like Chase and stuff like that they've talked about. So we're going to see that number continue to increase over time. It stores your value. It holds your value. It's going to hold your buying power right where it is right now. Don't wait till tomorrow, because that's tomorrow's buying power, which is already deflated a teeny bit. Get out while you can. Take as much of your wealth with you and hold it while you can. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system before that system gets out of you. Canadian mining giant loses control of an African site. It's kind of a weird story. Supposedly Canada was not paying the proper money to the Western African country, unpaid taxes and royalties. So they took it over. Apparently it was not active, which I thought strange. Why? I mean, unless the mine doesn't really have a whole lot in it, why wouldn't you be mining gold from it? I mean, gold's everything right now. So again, I don't know. And part of its value is its scarcity to a degree, but still, nonetheless. This is interesting that Canada has lost sight of this. Barrick is the company that used to own it, or does still technically. This Western African nation, Mali, has taken control of it for, I think, 6 months, they said in the article. We'll see what happens. Kind of a trip. All right, we're getting there. Something big is going terribly wrong in the Baltic Sea. So back during World War II, Germany and Russia, they had a lot of chemical weapons. And so, what do you do with chemical weapons that you're not really allowed to have anymore and you shouldn't really use and you don't really know what to do with? Well, you dump them in the bottom of the sea. Duh. Who doesn't do that? Well, the problem is these things are decaying pretty badly. No one knows exactly where they are, thank God. Otherwise, people would probably dive on them or get them and use them against us. But Germany right now is talking about going down and getting them, bringing them back up to the surface and dealing with them. And Russia's like, dude, we should probably help you. And Germany's like, nah, thanks. We don't want your help. And Russia's like, think about it for a second. Like, we're oddly good at this. This is something we're experts at. 2 countries in the world are extraordinarily amazing when it comes to deep dives. Us and Russia. That's it. So, yeah, if you got a bunch of crap at the bottom of the ocean and you need to deal with it, us or Russia are pretty much the ones that you want to look into. I don't know if they're going to ask us for help. They might. We'll see. I love how anyone might be reading the transcript. They'd be like, is he saying us or U.S.? Either way, it works. Yeah, isn't that funny? Meta has floated the idea, this $100 million offer. They're trying to poach OpenAI's people. I've found that to be very interesting. Meta, obviously deep state, right? They're trying to poach OpenAI's team, their AI people, so they can get it over at Meta, the deep state company. Now, I'm not saying OpenAI is something I'm like on board with. I don't know if I trust them either, frankly. I don't know if I trust Sam Altman, frankly. I don't trust Meta. I definitely don't. It's like, that's simple. That's a guarantee. I definitely don't want Meta to get it. All right? And then we can worry about where we are outside of that. But Meta, no. Sam Altman, maybe. Right? OpenAI, maybe. Who knows? Meta? No. Meta's a big Meta pain in the ass. Trump's going to extend TikTok divestment deadline again. White House says they're going to continue to push this out, which it is what it is. You TikTokers are probably stoked. I think they're more worried about it as it gets closer to the election. So I think that'll be like when Trump's going to really have to make a decision. But right now he's like, I think China's going to make a deal with us. So we'll see what happens. The big threat, and I've got another concern that we're finding out about. But the big threat is China at any time they want can pull all the U.S. data at any time they want. They're legally not supposed to, but because of their law and the fact that this is a Chinese company, it doesn't matter that they have servers in the United States. They're going to let China have access to those servers, which they do. Now, interestingly, when China was doing the whole thing with the creating the election, the driver's licenses and all that, yeah, so one of the ways they've been doing that, China had collected private U.S. user data from millions of TikTok accounts to include name, ID, and address, which would allow the Chinese government to use real U.S. persons' information to create the fraudulent driver's license. The fraudulent driver's licenses were to include true ID numbers and true address of U.S. citizens, making them difficult to detect. China planned to use the fraudulent driver's licenses to account for tens of thousands of mail-in votes. So any of you guys using TikTok, any of you guys that put on any personal information at all, you'd be like, well, I only said it in one video and then I said it in another video, something different though. Yeah, they transcribe all that stuff and they have that entire database of you in there. So if you're a heavy TikTok user and if you've given any information at all, you are helping China fuck with our elections. Thank you very much. Again, I don't like TikTok. I've said that. I've made no bones about that. Again, you want to use it away. That's fine. I'm just never going to say anything good about it. Probably not even when the U.S. has control of it. I just dislike it. I had such a bad experience when I was putting some shorts up on there that I just like, fuck this site. And I hate it. I don't hate it. I dislike it a bunch. Apparently it's going to get super hot, folks. So those of you guys out in the center and eastern side of the nation, I'd say buckle up, but really, I don't know. Get a fan, get something. You guys are going to be in for it. Get a swamp cooler, buy some extra ice, whatever you got to do. You guys are going to be kind of heading into a hard time. One thing, I don't know if it works. I know it works with water. If you drip water past a fan and it blows, you're going to get sort of a swamp cooler effect. But I think also if you had like a bowl of ice and blew a fan over that, that would actually probably blow some cooled air as well. So there are some kind of old school ways to, or cheap, what do they call that? Kind of jerry-rigged, if you will. I think that's the less racial way to say it. Ann Burrell. This was kind of a bummer to me. I'm a big food channel. Like, I love the Food Network. Love it. I mean, I love it. A few shows I could do without, but for the most part, I love it. I love cooking. I enjoy watching people cook. I enjoy learning about cooking things. I enjoy learning, putting ingredients together. Just love cooking. I really, really do. One of these days, I might do a cooking channel, though people are really mean to people that put out videos that aren't like perfect experts. That's definitely, I'm not a perfect expert. I'm like, like just regular dude that loves to cook and probably makes plenty of mistakes and enjoys eating the mistakes. That's kind of fun. But the idea of cooking is just something I've always enjoyed. My grandmother got me into it at a very young age. I was always in the kitchen trying to help out. My stepmom was a horrible cook. No offense if she was actually listening, though I think I'm pretty much offended her well beyond words. Whatever. It's sad because she died. She was 55 years old, had a heart attack. We don't know exactly why or what or whatever. The EMS was called. When they responded, she was already dead. She was dead at the scene. She didn't make it. And it's just, I don't know if any of you guys ever followed cooking shows. She's been a judge. She's had her own show. Just seemed like a nice lady. I don't know. I don't know anything about her, but I liked her on the show. She was always fun to watch and always had that cool, crazy hair. So very sad that she passed away. And then finally, Honda conducts a successful launch and landing of a test of a reusable rocket. wonder how badly that nuked the concrete. And also, I don't know if you guys catch how much this looks kind of like the way it operates is very SpaceX oriented. I think they borrowed a lot of technology from watching Elon Musk do what he's been doing. But good on you, Honda. Well done. It's going to help Japan in a big way, too. So a lot of things are changing, folks. They're changing quickly. They're changing all over the place. And they're going to continue to change. They're changing for the better. May not seem like it, but that's what's happening. So be careful following negative people. There's lots of them out there, but it's your choice. You've ultimately got to learn the way. That's why I keep saying it matters with you, matters in your heart area. Come at things from love. You're going to do a lot better than the alternative. But ultimately, it's up to each and every one of us to handle our own individual path. If you're spending a lot of time being pissed off at other people not doing what they need to do, most likely you're not doing what you need to do. And that's why you keep pointing at others, because you don't want to accept the responsibility for your own side of this. What you do matters more than what anybody else does. It's all about you when it comes to your life and your soul and your evolution. It's about you. Where we go one, though, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.